G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an XM4. If you've ever played Call of Duty Cold War, you've probably recognized this thing already, because it is a direct port. All of the models and textures are ported over, as well as the sounds. Speaking of sounds, this thing is way too loud by default. I actually had to change the master volume setting, which is a big pain in the ass, because for some reason they made this thing loud, like, really loud, way louder than all of the vanilla guns, which is kind of silly. I get the guns in real life are super loud and they would have that volume behind them, but we're playing a video game here. I like a little bit of consistency with the gun volumes and noises, and not blowing my speakers and eardrums out when I fire this thing, I think is a worthy thing. Anyways, so we've got a bunch of attachments here. Hopefully we can get this done quickly, but we've got a bunch of starter ones, so you can have the CAR-15, M16A1. Note how it's got the barrel that looks like the service rifle barrel back in New Vegas. That's kind of cool. M16A2, which I believe is a burst weapon, as reflected by the fire rate change here. I actually really like the burst fire variant of this weapon. I think it works really well. So we'll definitely be using one of those, but we'll get to that a little bit later. You can also have an M16K, which is like a little baby M16, little barrel on the front. It's kind of cool looking. And then you can have the MK18, which I guess is like a super modernized version, possibly from Call of Duty Modern Warfare, because it doesn't really fit with the rest of these. It looks a little bit too futuristic. And as you can tell, you basically got the same as the vanilla receivers, but one for each of the variants of receiver there. So that's cool. So we can go all the way down to advanced, and there's no powerful automatic. It's all just powerful and piercing. Most of these are automatic by default, unless you're using the burst receiver. So we'll do that. I like the M16A2, so we'll chuck on the advanced burst receiver here, because honestly this will probably be my go-to weapon for this entire video because it's so fun. And we've got a legendary slot. We will not use that, but if you want a little bit more power out of your weapon, then go right ahead. Now for the body here, you can change the attachment on the bottom of the barrel here, beyond the handguard there. You can have a spotlight, a laser sight, a target designator, must be activated by aiming down sights, reveals enemy data at longer engagement distances. Maybe not super useful without a scope, but these are all sort of stock standard hipfire accuracy and having a flashlight on the front for immersive purposes. Let's just go for a little bit of hipfire accuracy here with the steady aim laser there. And this weapon, not so tactical. It's not covered in tactical rails, although we can mount a few things in here, which we'll get to in a second. But if you ever change the receiver, just make sure, if you haven't changed the optics, make sure you just chuck on the iron sights at a bare minimum, because they've got different heights, right? So if you don't change the optics to iron sights, you won't be able to see anything whilst aiming down sights. Got it? Good. But we can chuck on scopes and stuff, but unfortunately it keeps the rail there, which makes it look kind of funky, I guess. I like the idea of having the handrail iron sights there on their own. See, I see these things in Battlefield. If you've ever used them in Battlefield, it'll replace the hand grip with a tactical rail there if you want to chuck on sights, but that's okay. What I want to do is chuck on a 3x scope here so we can zoom into distances. This thing is compatible and has the see-through scope, so if you want to aim down sights in third person, you'll just get the standard aiming. So a little bit of versatility with that. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but this thing is compatible with the tactical reload framework, which will basically just give you an extra little bit to the reload that you need to do if you empty the magazine, although it doesn't give you the +1 in the chamber thing. So there's limitations there, but I'm guessing it was hard enough to get the animations working as they are. Now you can chuck on some magazines here. There's a couple of strange ones in here. Obviously that's one for the MK18, makes it fit very well. You can have some jungle style magazines, which I think is really cool, and there's some 35 rounds, 45 rounds, which is tiny. They've crammed 45 5.56s in that tiny mag. I feel like that's not exactly what it's supposed to be, but it is what it is. You can also have a 50 round one, and you can have a 50 cal SOCOM 10 round magazine. Now obviously that's going to make the boards big and they're going to hit a lot harder, but never ever use this with the burst receiver, because the sound will just loop over and over. It's really loud and I made my eardrums bleed, so don't do that. So what we'll do is oh, it's got a cool mag clamp as well. So instead of jungle style, then you've got the proper mag clamping things. Then you can have a 54 round magazine, which is very small. I'm not really sure on the science of this, possibly TARDIS technology, but we'll go for a 50 round magazine there, even though it looks distinctly like a 30 round. Maybe it's like a box mag and they're just stacked up a little bit weirdly. Not really sure. And you can change the thing on the handle. You can wrap some thing around it. Increases your agility and stability whilst aiming. I guess it just makes the weapon a little bit more comfortable. Easy to use. This one increases your aiming speed, so from the moment when you press the aim button to the moment you're aiming is a little bit shorter. But generally in these games, it's super fast anyway, so not that big of a deal. So we'll leave that just at the lowest tier or the highest tier possible, and we can extend the barrel out a little bit, and that'll increase our range and also damage if we get ourselves a specific barrel. This one doesn't actually require that much other than adhesive aluminium and screws, no gun nut things, and we get extra damage. We also get extra range out of it, and it's just shoved this on the muzzle thing because we gain the muzzle slot out of that barrel, which we can chuck a suppressor on. 230 damage, very, very nice indeed. Quite like that. And we can change the stock, so we can have the tactical stock, which is like the full stock. Makes it look like an M16 from the Vietnam War days. And then you can have a wire stock, you can have the buffer tube if you want. Plenty of decently looking things here. I quite like the SAS tactical stock here. And speeds when moving, when aiming. That's good. That's helpful. And we'll move on. Prestige rank is just another way of getting yourself a little bit of damage if you feel like the thing isn't doing enough. But we're doing 230 right now, so I think we'll be okay. You've also got the option of adding a bunch of these camos on, which probably exists already in the Call of Duty games. That one looks like quick response from Battlefield 4. I quite like that one, but again, it doesn't paint the whole thing, so it makes the barrel kind of look out of place. But can't resist quick response. Let's go for it. And that is about it, I think. Yep, pretty nice. We can get started. We'll create a couple more of these, and I'll see you when we start shooting things. Hold up, I forgot underbarrels. We can chuck a foregrip here if we want. For improved stability and accuracy, this patrol grip increases sprint speed, so that feels like the best way to go. Also, this one has faster weapon melee combat. Now, the bash damage on here is actually quite exceptional, so we might actually make use out of that, but faster sprint speed, I feel like, is the way to go for a weapon like this. Very nice. Quite like how it's turning out. If you want to easily get this weapon, you can just go to your chemistry workbench and you can build these, provided you've got rank 4 of gun nut. So that might be something you want to invest on. And this one has 45s. It's like a submachine gun AR-15 type design. I didn't pick that up, but yeah, a little bit of crafting materials and ranks, but you know, it makes weapons easy to get. A couple of world drops for this weapon, which makes it super easy to get, includes the Armory of Vault 111, I'm guessing where you find the Cryolator, and the Museum of Freedom, the Tapestry area. So 2 very easy places to get it early game. The only problem is you probably won't find many 5.56 rounds at that time, so at least you get them at the very start, right? Maybe they come with rounds with them. And there's also 10 blueprints scattered throughout the Commonwealth, which weren't revealed on the Nexus page, so you might have to go for a scavenger hunt to find those ones, I guess. Righto, we're going to be taking on Gunner's Plaza of the immersive variety with our M16 looking guns, and this is the M16A2 burst, one with the quick response paints. You'll note the foregrips are a thing, so they'll be used in first and third person. Good attention to detail. This one is a unsuppressed CAR-15, sort of like an M4 looking thing. This one is my sniper one. It's got the longest scope and the biggest scope I can put on it, longest barrel, and a suppressor just to sell you the sniper style. It's also got the 50 caliber rounds in the magazine for increased damage per shot. And this is the little 45 shooting one with the compact barrel and the Russian reflex sight on the top, which I don't know why they don't give you more American ones, but it is what it is. And we'll start off, I think, with this one, and I might have to reload this. There we go. There's one reload so far. We'll get to seeing more of them in a second. The reloads have sound, but since the game is so loud with the firing sounds of these, I had to turn it right down, you see. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to hear me talk, and my beautiful commentary will be lost in gunfire, just like the MG42 video, which is probably outdated at this point. But when we get into trouble, probably not going to have the greatest DPS, although we can spam this quite easily. I'm wondering if we can get sniper knockdowns out of it. We've been unlucky thus far if we have, but I assume that it's not going to happen. We'll switch over to our burst fire one, and behold the DPS. It's extremely powerful. We might get into nerd rage here in a second, which would be kind of brilliant because we can go into third person. No, not third person. We can go into slow motion, in fact, and shoot these guys and do a really good job of it. And try to get that one whilst not aiming down sights at all. We'll pop that quick reload. Obviously, the reload is a bit faster. And that's actually given us a nice little healthy level up there, which brings back all our health. So we're in good shape now. If we happen to get into more trouble later on, I think we'll be okay. Those guys are distracted by bugs right now, so I'll probably just hide here. Let's switch to something else. We've seen enough of this. For now, let's switch over to this one with the carry handle iron sights. Quite like this. And that firing sound is distinctively Call of Duty there, and they're cloaking. I was wondering where that one was. I thought it was behind the car. I've gone blind. Maybe it's all the roofing that I do. And here's a bash damage. See ya. And we could pretty much use this as a melee weapon. If you're out of bullets, don't worry. This thing, really, really strong. So if you're in close quarters and you want to just use this and utilize the bashing thing as much as possible, you probably don't even need basher to utilize it. I just got 6,000 damage on that guy. That probably isn't intended because that makes it extremely strong. And for the first time in Captainoob history, we might be able to take out a big monster boss by bashing it to death with the stock of the weapon. So look forward to that, if I remember. But things are going pretty well right now. We'll switch over to the super close quarters compact thing. And I noticed that I haven't used this thing in VATS, and you'll see right there that that was a bloody mess rank 4 proc, where sometimes it makes enemies explode just the same. Let's do a classic door breach maneuver. It's a little bit more fancy if you use explosives.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Let's use VATS a little bit. You know what? We'll stand here. We've got a decent amount of VATS shots. We'll have to reload here. Now, I've had issues with the tactical reload framework not allowing me to reload in VATS, so your hair's not blonde. You should know these things. If the weapon's not firing, and I'm guessing we're just hammering on the trigger there. Excuse me? Oh, Mr. Cloaky Man's back. Stop there.
Easy now. Hands up.
All right. Another successful intimidation there. Don't usually utilize that, but it is nice to have it show up every once in a while. And if we can go back into caution here, looks like that won't be the case, but we'll endeavor to get some more of them there sniper knockdowns. I don't think it's happening. In fact, let's utilize a little bit of gun fu here. So it looks like the single shot headshot kills will be the way to do it. Excuse me for a second. Now, where was I? That's a little bit of a limitation. It's probably... Was that... It's burst fire? Is this thing automatic? No. It's burst fire in VATS though, which means it's way more powerful than I thought. Okay, that's insane. Let's have a look at that again. It is? I thought it was semi-auto. I'm an idiot. Next up, gunners. What have we got left here? We've got this fellow. He's about to have a very bad day. Just about dead anyway. Sorry, she. I misgendered you. Please don't cancel me, Twitter. And where are ya? Let's use the old VATS melee trick. Nice little stagger back there. Allows me to pick up the kill. And looks like there's only one thing left. The hipfire accuracy on this appears to be sufficient enough to make it fairly usable even at medium ranges if you want to utilize... Nice hit. There we go. But honestly, bullets, you don't have to use them. And unfortunately, this rain's going to ruin your outfit, Winter, so it's unfortunate, but you seem to be in good spirits regardless. Alright, let's move on to some monsters. Okay, time to use the hydrogen cyanide infused buttstock of the weapon to kill Swan. Now, hopefully, he sort of stays facing that direction. If he's friendly, oh boy. Now, I'm actually considering using a stealth boy here because it might not last super long. And bugger off, Feral Ghoul. You're not in this video. And let's see what we can do. So we're getting 6,000 before. You can get sneak multipliers with this thing. 7,000. A lot of damage. That's 1600 there. If we manage to get criticals here, he's actually mutated, so maybe we'll wait until nightfall before we try that again. But for now, we'll just shoot him the old-fashioned way. We'll figure out a way how to get a bash kill if we just remain a little bit more sneaky than usual. Ow. Maybe we should put some ballistic fiber in this suit of yours, Winter. I think that would help out quite well. Anyways, let's get started on shooting this guy as fast as possible. Despite this thing being suppressed, it's exceedingly loud, and we're doing pretty good. We'll kill him nice and quickly, and we actually got all of our rounds back right there because of, I believe that is Scrounger, so I just happened to find it, and we're on Nerd Rage. That was all calculated. We'll switch over to something else before he throws a rock at me. Oh, here it comes. Ah! Ooh, got lucky. There he goes. Alright, so a little bit sloppy there, but I'm committed to getting this bash kill, damn it. You got lucky there, Swan, but in the end I managed to get you. So it's fine. Looks like the rain washed out of the suit too. Here, have a stim pack. You earned it. The clock has just struck midnight, but I'm noticing there's a kerfuffle going on down here, so I guess we'll take a look at this place. I think they're all cloaked gunners, so they're going to be tough to spot. But with my killer instincts, I'm sure I'll figure out how to kill these guys easily enough. Also, I think that the amount of numbers that are being spammed, don't forget to reload. Maybe I think I downloaded a patch that makes the reloads not happen automatically, so I guess that's realistic. This doesn't make me start reloading as soon as I empty the magazine, which sometimes could consider to be of greater control, but that's another settlement help, so at least I'll get a like from this video from Preston, and we'll sneak up on the Wendigo. He'll get ya. You make sure he doesn't get ya, because he'll hit you hard. Let's bash him to death with the one with a scope, because you know what? If I'm at this range with a scope, I'm gonna bash him anyway. And chop, and chop. Disabled. Hit him. He got staggered there. Sorry, I was thinking about battlefield tanks that have been relapsing into that. And we might be a little bit in trouble here, but we can bash him faster than he can hit us. So we only took a minor scratch there, and just some double tappings to make sure he stays down. Because, yeah, I don't know if that's intentional, but it certainly makes for interesting exchanges. Never have I ever used a weapon quite like this where I can get bash damage to out DPS this thing while shooting. It's a melee weapon, but it shoots bullets as well. That's the kind of versatility you want. And you only need Basher to upgrade it instead of 5 ranks of Iron Fist, or possibly even Big Legs. There's just 4 of Basher. That's a pretty good deal. Alright, so there's the Lobsterman over there. He's been quite a headache in the past, so hopefully we can kill him on this day without too much trouble. We're hitting him for 666, so very unholy numbers there, and he's not super happy about it. But when we're not hitting him for 666, 145 for the non-sneak crits there. Just got to make sure we don't get our asses handed to us here. I'm thinking of going over to one that is a little less obnoxious sounding, and we'll go for the close quarters one. It's a lot less damage in overall, but that's okay. Let's enter a little bit of Vatsing here. I think I've demonstrated that if you were to use this with a sneak attack critical rifleman, whatever, no, it's just stealth commando, that kind of approach to this thing would make it extremely powerful, especially when you're hitting for 300 and naughty, bad lobster man. You see that? He's leading his targets like a pro there. I'm hoping for a stagger here. Looks like we got one. Very nice. We'll switch over to this one now. That's much better. Honestly, the best part about this mod is the M16A2. I love it. I generally don't favor burst fire rifles in video games, but I think this works so well. It just feels so powerful and so efficient with being so accurate at the same time. Because generally I don't mag dump stuff in video games anyway. Usually micro burst, so this reinforces my behavior very nicely there. So if you want to see this video game, it's called Fallout 4. You can buy it on Steam or on other things. Also, you can wear the weapons if you please. pretty cool, right? If you want to see this weapon in your game, check out the description. Hopefully Warfighters Workshop has a port. Generally, I think he's pretty good at porting his stuff over, so I have little doubt that we'll see this on console as well. The problem is, though, this thing is fairly heavy on the amount of things it uses, and the textures look really good, but I'm not using the maximum amount of textures you can get. The full quality textures was like 1 gigabyte, which I'm not spending on a bunch of weapons like that. Maybe a CAR-15 with 4K textures is 1 gigabyte worth of textures. Maybe I'll go for that. But M16, not quite. So check out the links in the description. Also, if you're wondering what this outfit is, I took the Capital Wasteland thing that you get from the Creation Club, found a CBBE patch, and it works pretty well, I think. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, guys.